AITA for no longer wanting to give a house to my sister, my portion of inheritance. A few years ago, our mom passed away unexpectedly, and she didn't have a will. So splitting the assets has been more of a headache than any of us anticipated. Most of us, multiple siblings involved, are of a mind that we need to prioritize relationships with each other because we understand long-term damage that feuding over material things upon someone's death can bring to families. Our mom loved her house and spent her time turning it into a dream home before her death. Some didn't want it sold off. It was then proposed that one of our sisters who has young children be given the house because she was looking at travel trailers for housing, and it would be a long-term, affordable, and stable home. At this time, sale of the house to her and her husband wasn't an option because they couldn't get approved for a loan. They were told that they needed to prepare themselves to get a loan for the house in case the loan wasn't assumable, and unfortunately, they didn't do that. So to this day, they still wouldn't qualify to buy it. We agreed on a nice idea to each give the gift of our own inheritance with an unspoken understanding that they'd plan on staying there long-term. While we figured out the legal stuff, they move in and pay the mortgage until things are made official. Unfortunately, shortly after moving in, our sister's husband would tell friends and his family that his plan is to sell the house within the next 2 years or rent it out and move. This understandably caused upset because it felt like he was looking at opportunity to profit, not long-term stability. We proposed a stipulation stating that they'd have to reside in the home for 5 years before it would be transferred solely to them as proof that they are serious about making it into their home. But her husband got really upset and wouldn't hear us out. We asked our sister what their plan was, and she said it depended on her husband's work situation, that moving wasn't off the table or fully on it, but she felt 2 years was long enough to consider it long-term. With all of this coming to light, a few of the siblings no longer wanted to sign because they didn't feel it would be fair to end up with none of the equity on a short-term living situation. We sought acknowledgement that he understood this was a huge gift and sacrifice of our inheritances, hoping he would show some gratitude so we could feel good about signing and move on, but he was not receptive. He feels because he's done some work on the house and has paid the mortgage that it is his. It no longer feels wise to hand over my portion heedlessly, not because of the money, the morality, and the ethics of it all. With the new information about their plans to possibly sell the property after only a short time, the sense of entitlement and the lack of acknowledgement for how big of a gift this really is. ATH for no longer wanting to give away my portion of inheritance?